So The Incredible Hulk. I don't think people really care for this one very much. I didn't really watch it as a kid. I may have seen it once or twice when I was younger, but it wasn't one that I like held on to. Hulk was never a character I really connected with as a kid. The first time I saw this movie that I can actually remember was just a couple of years ago. I think it was around when She-Hulk came out. I knew that Abomination was going to be in that and that he was in Shang-Chi, and I was like, well, I might as well watch it because I barely remember it. When I did watch it, I had a lot of fun. I thought it was fine. Like, it wasn't anything bad or terrible like I felt like people portrayed it to be. That being said, I do think it has two really major issues. Its pacing is all over the place, and its third act is certainly something. I feel like it's a bit meandering in Brazil. Like, we're there for 35 minutes of the movie. When we finally left Brazil, I checked the time, and it had been 35 minutes in there, which is crazy to me. Like, it felt like it had been an entire hour of the film. It wasn't bad there, it just wasn't engaging. Even though you really want to like Edward Norton, it just wasn't as engaging as it should have been. And again, I think they knew that because he just somehow shows up in Virginia later. You have a shot of him getting some money on the street, but not even close to enough that he would need to get to Virginia. It doesn't really make sense to me, but movie magic, I guess. After the third act, it just feels like a CGI green blob fest. I feel like all of the CGI goes downhill. Hulk looked amazing throughout the entirety of the film up until the third act. Abomination doesn't look that great, and when they're fighting each other, it's not necessarily bad. In fact, for 2008, I think it's quite good, but compared to what we had already been witnessing before this, it just really didn't work for me. I do like Hulk's color in this. It feels more dark green gray than the kind of olivey green that he has going forward after this movie. I think I kind of just prefer this design than the other one. Now, I don't want to be too negative because I do really enjoy this one. I had a good time. I didn't really connect to a lot of the characters. Liv Tyler's Betty Ross was engaging for the most part. I totally understand where Edward Norton's Bruce Banner is coming from because if Liv Tyler loved me, I would also travel across the world to get to her no matter what. I think it just brilliantly recreate the old 70s show, like opening when you see him in the intro and he has the exact same like mark on his face and everything. It was great. They do it again in She-Hulk. That was fun. It felt good because you don't need to know Hulk's origin. Hulk is a big character, much bigger than Iron Man even was at this point. Hulk is one of the main three for Marvel. Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk. That I feel like has kind of shifted a bit since all of these MCU movies, but he was one of them. He was one of the main three. And because of that reason, we just don't need another Hulk origin, so it works. Also, can we talk about how only in a superhero movie would drinking someone else's blood give you superpowers instead of just kill you or give you some sort of sickness or disease? Like, you would just be dead. Wow. I think another thing they do really well is just how short Emil Blonsky is. Him compared to Thunderbolt Ross is really, really funny to me because he's like 3 feet under, and maybe not 3 feet, he's like 2 feet under him. And that's just ironic for what ends up happening. I think it was really good character work. For that reason alone, I think it's a good decision to hire Tim Roth for the role. Also, at the end of the movie, Bruce Banner goes to British Columbia. Is that where he is at the beginning of Avengers? Because I feel like he was like in Mexico or something. Maybe I'm wrong, I haven't seen the movie in a while, but I don't remember it being British Columbia. I also love how the movie ends where he finally accepts and kind of smiles when he's starting to get Hulk under control for the first time. Even though I feel like that's kind of retroactively like taken away anyway in the upcoming movies, but it's a fun ending, so it worked for me. Edward Norton's really fun in this role. I think he's a brilliant actor. He's great in everything he does. I just rewatched Glass Onion recently because Wake Up Dead Man came out, but he's so good. He's such a fun time. I think he's really well cast as Bruce Banner. I don't think he's a perfect casting, but I do think he works better than Mark Ruffalo works. Not that I hate Mark Ruffalo in the role. In fact, I kind of love him a lot in the role. He just doesn't really hit where I think Edward Norton could have hit, and for that reason, I think I kind of prefer Edward Norton. Also, William Hurt, of course, he's an amazing actor, and he's just as good here as Thunderbolt Ross. I really wish he would have gotten his time to shine in the new Captain America movie, but he passed away, so that didn't happen. Liv Tyler's very good. She does her role really well. I will say she wears some of the ugliest glasses I have ever seen put to screen in this movie, but that's not anything against her acting. That is just, they were so bad. Of course, Tim Roth is a successful actor. He's amazing. He does his job really well. I feel like he was more intimidating at the beginning of the movie than he was once he actually became Abomination. He just kind of became a monster, which I guess is kind of the point. But Tim Roth was much more intimidating and scary as Emil Blonsky than he was at the Abomination. Also, shout out Tim Blake Nelson for just having the time of his life in this role. Unfortunately, none of these people are going in our council of actors because basically none of them come back. William Hurt comes back here and there, but it's really just not worth it. I feel like these people don't really make a super lasting impact on the MCU as a whole, and their performances were what they needed to be, which was pretty good. As for the cinematography, Peter Menzies Jr. did it. It does its job. It feels more stylized than Iron Man did, which I really appreciate because I feel like all superhero movies should have a more comic-y, stylized feel anyway. But my favorite thing that he does is how he portrays Edward Norton's eyes and the Hulk's eyes the work with eyes just across the board was really well done in this movie and what stood out the most. We also can actually see what's going on in the darkness in this movie, unlike newer major motion pictures. As the director, Louis Leterrier, you may have seen him do stuff like Fast and the Furious. I've only seen one of those movies, and I don't think it's the one that he actually directed. But that's that. He doesn't direct anything else Marvel that I can remember or that I could see when researching, so I'm not going to put him on the Council of Directors either. It's going to take us a little bit for someone to get up there. But yeah, I mean, he did his job well. He seems to be a fun director. He seems to have fun with the cast, so good for him. But just not going to go on the council. As for the score, Craig Armstrong did it, and when I actually watched the movie, I wasn't like vibing with it. It wasn't doing anything crazy for me. It just felt like kind of your average superhero score. But when I went to go listen to it afterwards, just on its own, there were some really good standouts. Specifically, the main title intro sequence was really good, so that's a track you'll want to listen to. And then Hulk's theme is spectacular in this movie, just like the monstrous version of Hulk. It's very, very good, and I'm sad because I don't think they bring it back ever again. So Craig Armstrong did a great job on that. It feels fluid, it feels harrowing, it feels scary. I loved it. And then a kind of more fun, somber, but also emotional one that you're going to want to look at is The Return to Culver University. Those are definitely my top three. The main title, Hulk theme, and Return to Culver University. All three of those stand out to me as this movie, and this movie specifically, so really big fan of those. Craig Armstrong's also not going to go on our Council of Composers. He just doesn't really do anything else with Marvel anymore, and if this stood out more, then maybe it would be there. It just doesn't fit. His work on Moulin Rouge and Great Gatsby are also really solid, so check that out if you like them. As for this movie's ranking, it's only the second one, and it's not better than Iron Man in any way, so it's got to go right underneath Iron Man for us. As for the villain ranking, I'm not going to put Thunderbolt Ross in here because he will have his own movie to deal with, but as for Blonsky himself, the Abomination, I'm going to put him right underneath Obadiah Stane, just because I find Obadiah a little bit more intimidating and a little bit more scary as the Ironmonger, whereas that kind of mellowed out throughout the movie once Emil became Abomination. But yeah, that's Incredible Hulk. It's a pretty good time. There's some slow aspects, but it's pretty serviceable as a Hulk film. Like, it's not perfect or even the greatest thing that could possibly come out of a Hulk film, but it's pretty serviceable, and I think that people have a weird, twisted look at this one. So if you haven't seen it for a while, you should check it out again just to see if you like it or if you are holding strong on it just not being that great. But that's what I'm thinking. That's where I am. I'm excited for the next one, Iron Man 2. I also haven't seen it in a while, but I also remember not liking it as much as Iron Man, and I know a lot of people don't like it as much either. So I'm just excited to see my boy Justin Hammer, to see Sam Rockwell be amazing in that movie. He is brilliant. So that's it for this one. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, do all the stuff you gotta do. Comment down below what you think of The Incredible Hulk. Can't wait to catch you guys in the next one. Take care.